This morning, CBS News investigates a driving danger all sides agree is a problem. A national shortage of parking for large trucks has semis parking on the sides of freeways, on ramps, and rest stops. The National Transportation Safety Board is looking into the potential risks of the situation following a deadly crash this summer. And the city of San Antonio is weighing banning overnight big rig parking on city streets. That's where we find CBS News senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Mario Gonzalez never made it home after visiting a relative in Alice, Texas this summer. It was just before 10 p.m. when the 74-year-old retired teacher's pickup slammed into the back of a semi parked on the side of the road through a rest stop off Interstate 37 south of San Antonio. It was dark and the truck did not have lights on.
Losing him has left a hole in our family, a hole that nothing's going to fill.
His daughter, Lori.
When they said, "It's your dad, Dad had an accident and he's dead," and I'm like, no, it's not Dad. It can't be him because he was full of life and he had nothing wrong with him.
Gonzalez was speeding when he left the freeway, but hit the brakes moments before the collision. His family is now suing the trucking company, which denies any wrongdoing. Attorney Bob Hilliard.
They literally had stopped, parked, and turned off the lights in the roadway. And that's a hidden danger there, an invisible brick wall, until the last second.
Gonzalez died 2 days after a hauntingly similar crash in Illinois killed 3 when a Greyhound bus hit several big rigs parked along a rest stop access road. The trucking industry says drivers are forced to park in such places because there's only one parking space for every 11 trucks on the nation's roads.
How hard is it to find a place to park for one of these things? It can be from easy, a small percent of the time, to impossible, a large percent of the time.
Danny Schnautz, president of Clark Freight Lines in Houston, says the lack of parking coupled with strict drive time rules forces truckers into unsafe situations.
How often does it happen where they're parking somewhere other than a rest stop, like on the shoulder of an off-ramp? It's a daily occurrence. And it may only be for a short period of time, but when your body needs to rest, you can't just throw it aside. And whenever you've gone through 2 or 3 rest stops and truck stops, you've already pushed the time.
CBS News found big rigs parked on freeway and rest stop shoulders across the country, from Maryland to Arizona, Indiana to Texas, often crowding the roads into rest areas already full of parked trucks. Investigators for the Gonzalez family shot this video of the rest area where Mario died, jammed with trucks on both sides of the road. The Texas Department of Public Safety, which includes the Highway Patrol here, declined our request for an interview, so we can't ask the agency about how this big rig is parked. But DPS says typically it is not illegal for a big rig to park on the shoulder of an off-ramp, provided it's not blocking the active roadway. Nationally in 2020, there were 4,000 injury accidents involving big rigs near interstate on and off ramps. Another 55 were fatal.
This is a real problem.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
This is not just a quality of life issue for truck drivers who deserve a good, convenient, safe place to park, but also it's a safety issue for the entire system.
Money from the bipartisan infrastructure bill and other federal programs is funding expansion of truck parking at rest stops in several states. Republican Congressman Mike Bost is sponsoring legislation that would make an additional $755 million available to states to expand existing truck parking.
I hope that this is a wake-up call, that we do not have to have more of those type situations before members of Congress come to realize how important this is to get passed.
The Gonzalez family wants to see laws restricting big rig parking as they grieve a loss they believe was entirely preventable.
There are a lot of regrets that I didn't have that opportunity. Have some conversations that I needed to have with them, and now I never will. So I have to live with that every day.
A family's pain now focused on making the roads safer. For CBS Saturday Morning, I'm Chris Van Cleve in San Antonio.
We've all seen it on our commutes or other drives. I mean, truckers have to rest. They do a hard job. They work a lot. But you look at some of those pictures, it's hard to say that it's not unsafe.
And I
look at that.
think that idea that you hope it doesn't take more lives for this message to get through to Congress is certainly felt by at least one family out there.
Absolutely.